Sometimes the stories she tells about herself seem to take on a life of their own. Even now, rumors keep popping up about whether she was honest about her hair and the truth behind her public appearances. Despite her past struggles with addiction and pain, she's never shied away from talking about her life, but questions about her candor have followed her for years. For example, discussion around her hair loss made headlines after she confessed to dealing with alopecia. Later, some insiders claimed her journey might not have been as straightforward as she said. People close to her have whispered that the details about how it happened and when it started don't always add up. Meanwhile, her spiritual beliefs sparked debates, and many were surprised by her confessions. Over time, she's shared details about her childhood hustling, and honestly, she's withstood judgment about choices most wouldn't admit openly. Even as her marriage survived its most public ups and downs, she carried herself like controversy was just another Tuesday. Quiet moments of truth have always mingled with larger-than-life headlines, blending real emotion with questions about just how much she chooses to share or withhold. Adrienne Banfield-Jones became pregnant with her daughter Jada while still in high school. The journey from that point was marked by both challenges and changes. She married Pinkett Jr., the father of her daughter, but their marriage lasted only a few months. Despite the brevity of that union, the significance of Jada's name holds a special place in the family's story. Jada was named after Jada Rowland, who was her mother's favorite soap opera star. This choice of name reflects a personal connection and a tribute to someone admired by Adrienne during a formative time in her life. The early years involving Adrienne and her daughter laid a foundation infused with both resilience and meaningful ties to figures who inspired them, shaping a unique narrative that reached beyond the ordinary start many might expect. Growing up, drama seemed woven into the very fabric of her everyday life. Her father's drinking habits hung over the family like a shadow, making home unpredictable and, at times, dangerous. When he was under the influence, tension filled the air, leaving her on edge, never sure what each day might bring. At the same time, her mother, not even an adult herself when she gave birth, was slipping under the weight of addiction and responsibility. Being a mother at 16 brought its own battles, and drugs often stole away her focus, zapping energy, making her distant or forgetful. It wasn't unusual for her to drift off in the middle of a conversation or important moment, leaving the young girl stranded in confusion. Simple things like being picked up from school sometimes turned into trials of patience or disappointment, forcing her to grow up quickly, to learn how to navigate absence and unpredictability. Even in those moments when her mother nodded off or showed up late, she clung to resilience as tightly as hope. Through all the turbulence, instead of letting bleakness define her, she harnessed the dramatic energy that surrounded her and made it her own, learning how to channel those waves of feeling into something productive, a tool for survival and tool for growth. In a world where little came easy, where the adults were weighed down by their own struggles, she chose not to be trapped by her circumstances, but instead worked to transform them, constantly striving to make the best of what the world handed her. At first, it seemed like Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith would be a perfect match, but there was a complication. Will was already married in 1992 to Cherie Zampino, and that same year, they had a son named Willard Carroll Smith III, or Trey. The family tried to be happy, but the marriage between Will and Cherie was struggling from early on. When Jada and Will met, the situation was complicated because Will was still tied to his first marriage, making things uncomfortable and tense for everyone involved. However, soon after, fate changed the path for all of them. Will and Cherie divorced in 1995, which finally opened up the possibility for Jada and Will to share their relationship with the world. As soon as Will's divorce became final, Jada and Will announced their relationship, bringing relief and excitement at the new beginning. This marked the start of the most important relationship in Jada Pinkett Smith's life, setting the stage for everything that would come after. Yet from the very beginning, Jada Pinkett Smith did not see herself fitting into the idea of marriage. The social expectations surrounding marriage felt constrictive to her, almost like an obligatory script she never meant to follow. Even after spending 2 years in a committed relationship with Will Smith, the idea of walking down the aisle did not appeal to her. Everything shifted when she found out she was pregnant. Suddenly, their relationship was moving forward at a different speed, with outside expectations intensifying. Despite the significant change that pregnancy brings, it still wasn't enough to sway Jada's views about marriage entirely. She remained hesitant, even as the world around her seemed sharply focused on the next traditional step. Interestingly, Jada was not an outsider in her views. Will, on the other hand, always dreamed of the kind of marriage that came with the ultimate promise of togetherness. He saw marriage as a cornerstone of commitment and love, something he had imagined and wanted for his future. At the same time, Jada's mother believed strongly in the importance of marriage before bringing a child into the world. With those expectations converging from people she cared about, the pressure to say yes grew harder to ignore. Eventually, the wishes of her mother and the deep-seated dreams of Will tipped the balance, and Jada agreed to the wedding. The outcome was a decision shaped not just by her own situation but by the hopes and convictions of her closest family members. Despite the excitement and expectations that often surround wedding celebrations, the day Jada Pinkett walked down the aisle to marry Will Smith did not seem to hold the same joy. On December 31, 1997, Jada was 3 months pregnant, a fact that added to the pressure and emotion of that winter day. Although she had agreed to marry Will, her demeanor during the ceremony did not match the happiness people expect from a bride. Her mother observed that Jada, then 27 years old, was clearly very unpleasant on her wedding day, describing the entire occasion as horrible. Approximately 100 guests were present at the cloisters in Baltimore, all sharing in what should have been a magical time. Even with the beautiful setting and significant attendance, the atmosphere was tense, and the mood reflected Jada's lack of enthusiasm. Family members and others involved felt the strain as Jada transitioned from Jada Pinkett to Jada Pinkett Smith in that symbolic moment. The complexities of expectation, personal readiness, and circumstance shaped their wedding into a memory that was more challenging than celebratory. Still, the reality of her wedding day stands out as a striking contrast to the fairy-tale images often associated with such events, marked by discomfort and dissatisfaction rather than joy and romance. Despite the challenges that came her way, Jada Pinkett Smith always put her family above everything else. When she married Will Smith, she was already pregnant, which might have been complicated in some ways, but she accepted the responsibility of being a dedicated wife and mother. In 1998, she welcomed her first child, Jaden, and then, in 2000, her daughter Willow was born. Jada also stepped into the important role of being a mother figure to Trey Smith, Will's son from his first marriage. Keeping family life as private as possible was important to her, and the family tried to stay out of the spotlight when it came to their personal matters. However, Jada did share her feelings during an interview, saying only a little about how she handled her priorities at home. She made it clear with a single statement that nothing mattered more to her than the stability and happiness of her marriage and her children. She said she would not hesitate to give up her entire career if that became necessary to protect her marriage. That point wasn't just a passing comment, but a real conviction, and she told Will directly that she would walk away from everything she had built professionally if preserving their home life required it. She put in real work and genuine effort every day to uphold her belief that family comes before all else. Even though her career continued and her talent drew public attention, Jada Pinkett Smith's deepest commitment remained at home and with her children, blending her role as a loving mother and partner while navigating fame and everyday family challenges. When The Matrix came out in 1999, it turned into a global sensation almost overnight. The movie was directed by the Wachowski family, and what really set it apart was a fresh blend of science fiction, action, and groundbreaking special effects, all on a surprisingly modest budget of just $63 million. Despite the risk and innovation, it pulled in almost $500 million at the box office, and gained a cult following around the world for its unique take on reality, artificial intelligence, and deep philosophical ideas dressed up with exciting stunts and memorable visuals. Following this success, the story did not end with just one movie. Sequels were inevitable, and the Wachowskis started working on follow-ups that took the tale even further. They were so impressed by Jada Pinkett Smith's talents that they designed a part especially for her as they developed the scripts and directed the sequels. So enthusiastic were the Wachowskis about working with Jada that they made sure her character, Niobe, became an essential part of the narrative in both The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, both released in 2023. Jada Pinkett Smith stepped right into this world as Niobe, a strong-willed, skilled pilot and leader in the Resistance. Her presence added new energy and depth to the expanding Matrix universe. Being associated with such a major project also meant a certain stability for Jada's career, as being part of a big brand franchise offered more security and visibility than ever before. Years ago, a story began to surround Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, centered around the nature of their marriage. The rumor started after a 2013 interview, when Jada was asked about their relationship. She explained that you can do whatever you want as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and be okay. Jada also spoke about Will's freedom and individuality, saying that, at the end of the day, Will is his person. These words quickly gave rise to public speculation that the celebrity couple had an open marriage, leading to a wave of rumors that continued to follow them for years. Even though Jada took to Facebook quickly after the interview to deny that any open marriage existed, stating bluntly that the rumors were not true, the speculation did not disappear from public conversation. People returned to her original words, reading them in a way that kept the rumors alive. Despite Jada's public comments aiming to set the record straight, her openness and the dynamic between her and Will continued to draw attention, causing many to question the boundaries and expectations of their marriage in contrast to traditional relationships. This ongoing curiosity and the widespread sharing of the story meant that the couple remained a subject of discussion long after Jada's denial, with many people unable or unwilling to forget what she had originally said in that interview. Back in 2014, a controversy erupted when pictures surfaced online that showed Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's 13-year-old daughter lying on a bed with a shirtless 20-year-old actor named Boys Aries. This sparked an immediate reaction, leading Child Protective Services to visit the Smith family's home. After a thorough investigation, authorities found that there was no wrongdoing on the part of the Smiths, but the press aggressively covered the story, stirring public attention and speculation. During this turbulent time, Jada was deeply focused on advancing her career, taking on roles that displayed her versatility and strength as an actress. She appeared in popular films like Magic Mike 3 XL, Bad Moms, Girls Trip, as well as contributing to the Men in Black 3 movie and lending her voice in 3 Madagascar animated films. Despite the media storm, she balanced her professional life with personal challenges, maintaining her commitment to her craft and to her family in the midst of public scrutiny. After Jacqueline Olivia died, Jada Pinkett Smith made a decision that set off a series of rumors and speculation. She hired a piano teacher named Foster, who was known to be a Scientologist, to help finish the New Village Leadership Academy program. This move drew attention and suspicion, especially from those already curious about any potential ties she might have had to Scientology. The school eventually closed its doors in 2014, putting an end to the program once and for all. When that chapter ended, Jada tried to distance herself from not just the failed educational program, but also from whispers that she was involved with Scientology. Even though she put in sincere efforts to move on and quell the rumors, they never vanished entirely. Instead, the speculation lingered in the background, becoming another complicated layer in her public life. Despite her attempts to put it all behind her and turn the page, the questions never truly disappeared, staying attached to her name and career in subtle ways. After making a strong impression as Fish Mooney in the Batman-inspired series Gotham from 2014 to 2017, Jada Pinkett Smith took a bold step into a new kind of television. In 2018, she moved away from traditional TV roles and turned her attention to producing her own show, Red Table Talk, which streamed on Facebook Watch. Bringing together her daughter Willow Smith and her mother Adrienne Banfield Norris, Jada opened up a unique and intimate space for discussing personal and societal issues. Each episode revolved around conversations where all 3 women shared their views, offering guidance and honest stories from their own lives. The show, highlighting 3 generations, set a welcoming tone and quickly became known for its open approach to tough conversations that span topics including relationships, family, health, and cultural issues. Jada's vision allowed her to craft a media space where ideas could be expressed honestly without judgment, giving audiences a chance to see not only her family's perspectives, but also the way different generations see and handle life's challenges. By placing mothers and daughters around a familiar table, the show connected with viewers who appreciated real talk in a family setting. Over time, the show grew into a popular place for both regular people and celebrities to talk about things often left unsaid in public, earning its spot as a modern conversation starter that people of all ages could relate to. Back in June 2020, the rapper August Alsina claimed publicly that he had a romantic relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith 4 years earlier, in 2016. At the time, August was only 23 years old, while Jada was 44. August was close friends with Jaden Smith, Jada's son, which made the whole situation even more surprising for people who followed their lives. According to August, Will Smith, Jada's husband, knew about the affair and approved of their relationship because Will and Jada were not in what he described as a traditional marriage. The topic quickly spread across social media and entertainment news, with many people sharing opinions, assumptions, and rumors. August's claims led to a lot of questions and confusion regarding the nature of Jada and Will's marriage, something that had already been the subject of speculation in the past. Shortly after August made his statements public, Jada responded by saying that what he had claimed was absolutely not true. She emphasized that there had been no affair and that the description of her marriage was not accurate. In an attempt to clear the air for themselves, their family, and the public, Jada invited Will to appear with her on an episode of Red Table Talk, her popular talk show. The episode became a significant moment, with both Will and Jada sitting together to talk about their relationship, what they had been through, and to clarify misinformation. This conversation drew many viewers and became one of the most discussed Red Table Talk episodes, offering further insight into how the couple manages their personal experiences with the public eye and persistent rumors about their marriage. After weeks of speculation in July 2020, Jada Pinkett Smith and her husband Will Smith sat down together on an episode of Red Table Talk to address the rumors that had been swirling around their marriage. August Alsina, a singer, had claimed that he had been in a relationship with Jada. Shockingly, during the conversation, Jada admitted to the affair, describing it as an entanglement while Will listened and engaged in the discussion. Both Jada and Will denied having an open marriage and dispelled the belief that Will had given permission for Jada to be with August. Instead, the couple explained that the relationship occurred while they were separated, and they clarified that they dealt with the situation privately between themselves rather than through any formal agreement. The public reaction was intense after the interview aired, with people dissecting Jada's choice of words and the dynamics between the couple on camera. The phrase entanglement quickly entered popular culture and social media. Capitalizing on all the attention, August Alsina released 2 songs that referenced the affair, the first being Entanglements, which was released on July 19th. The song's lyrics included direct references to the relationship, such as "You left your man just to with me" and "Break his heart," further fueling interest and discussion among the media and fans. The events highlighted how private matters can become very public and turn into internet and musical moments, while the couple's own handling of the aftermath continued to be discussed and analyzed for much time after. Later, after a period of separation between Pinkett Smith and Smith, details about an entanglement with Elena emerged. Pinkett Smith openly discussed that she does not consider what happened as a transgression. She described how it began as a meaningful friendship, stressing her desire to genuinely help August in his difficult time, focusing on his health and mental state. The intentions, as she shared during an interview with Angela Yee on YouTube, were rooted in care and support rather than anything inappropriate. This perspective was important to Pinkett Smith, since she felt their relationship developed during a phase when she and Smith were apart and working through their individual lives. Meanwhile, Elena shared in her own interview that she holds a deep love for Jada, expressing strong feelings and appreciation for what she brought into his life emotionally and personally. Through the shared interviews and reflections, both talked about the significance of their connection, emphasizing the emotional layers involved, and how it was not merely a fleeting moment or mistake, but rather something meaningful for both. Shaped by the circumstances they were each going through at the time. The unfolding of this story provided rare openness from both sides, allowing the public a window into the personal journey and the importance of support during separations, all while challenging some presumptions about relationships, accountability, and the ways people find healing through unexpected bonds. Over time, the story of how Jada Pinkett Smith faced her struggle with alopecia areata shows both personal strength and vulnerability. In 2018, after 3 years of searching for answers, she received the diagnosis of this condition, which leads to patchy baldness on the scalp and can be extremely distressing. She talked openly about this challenge, sharing on Instagram in 2021 that at that point she could only laugh. Facing repeated hair loss and lab tests trying to figure out the root cause, she mentioned her personal belief that stress might be influencing her condition. The journey forced her to make the tough decision to cut her hair very short, changing her appearance in a way that drew public attention and discussion. Through her comments, it became clear that making peace with this new reality was important. She remarked that hair loss, and she would have to become friends, with no questions asked. Throughout her experience, she offered a glimpse into how a public figure copes with unexpected challenges, showing resilience without hiding her struggles from the world. Meanwhile, the media often looked for stories about Jada Pinkett Smith, but her openness about her alopecia meant that rumors had no place to grow. Jada chose to talk honestly about losing her hair, which made it hard for gossip to stick. Still, her being so open did not stop people from taking sides and debating her choices. During the 2022 Academy Awards, everything came to a head when Will Smith, her husband, finally received his first ever Best Actor Oscar. The night should have been about his achievement, but it quickly turned in a different direction. On stage, as the ceremony host, Chris Rock tried to make jokes. He singled out Jada's hair loss by comparing her appearance to G.I. Jane. The joke drew laughter from some, but Will Smith did not think it was funny. While Jada simply rolled her eyes and kept her composure, Will's anger bubbled over. Without warning, he walked up to the stage and slapped Chris Rock, shocking everyone watching both in person and at home. As he returned to his seat, Will loudly warned the host to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. The incident became the talk of the world, with people discussing not just the slap, but how celebrities are treated, who needs protection, and the boundaries of comedy. Damage followed, and Will Smith was banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years. Through all of this, Jada remained steady, later explaining that she never needed anyone to protect her. Her calm and her refusal to be hidden or shamed by her hair loss made a statement all on their own. Suddenly, the internet was flooded with talk about Jada's alopecia, especially after the infamous slap incident that brought her even more attention. She has been upfront about her struggles with hair loss, even showing a scar on her head in an Instagram video. While some people saw this as proof of her condition, others started to doubt her story. Online, rumors spread fast, and a TikTok video from Mariah Campbell suggested that Jada was making up her illness. Mariah accused her of lying about having alopecia, claiming that it was a strategy to move attention away from a cheating scandal and instead gain public sympathy. Some people supported this suspicion, stating that the visible scar could just be from a cosmetic procedure like a brow lift, and not related to alopecia at all. Discussions became even more intense as users argued back and forth in the comments, with some defending Jada and others insisting she was using her baldness to avoid negative press regarding her personal life. As debates continued, the topic trended across social media, with each new post fueling more opinions and speculation about Jada's honesty and intentions. Over the last 3.5 decades, Will Smith has left his mark on almost everything he touches. From blockbuster movies that fill theaters to television shows people still talk about years later, and even businesses that reach far beyond Hollywood. He grew up step by step under the spotlight, everybody watching his journey from a happy, energetic rapper to a movie superstar. Starting off with catchy songs and a fun, upbeat style, his music gave way to TV, where he made everyone laugh as the Fresh Prince, and then to films, where his acting took on more serious and dramatic roles. Smith's name stands out in the entertainment world as someone whose unique style, warmth, and magnetic personality make people want to tune in, no matter what is doing. As a singer, he picked up awards that most could only dream about, and in acting, he showed that comedy or drama both came naturally to him. Audiences around the globe know him as someone who's not just successful, but powerful too, able to influence trends, make projects shine, and keep people interested every time he steps into something new. With a smile and boldness that feels natural, Smith's attitude has made him relatable and admired across generations. Even as he became one of the most talked about celebrities in the world, keeping his charisma and staying in the spotlight for so long is proof that his charm is more than just luck. When Will Smith is involved in something, fans expect quality and are rarely disappointed, because throughout his career, he's shown a talent for making almost anything a success. People find him genuine, motivated, and understanding of what draws an audience, which helps explain why he's still such an important figure after all these years. Keeping people entertained for decades, he stands as someone who always seems to be at the center of the conversation, with fans and critics eager to see what comes next. During the early 1990s, Will Smith eagerly traveled to a taping of the television show A Different World, hoping to meet Jada Pinkett. Despite his excitement and intention to cross paths with her during the event, the two never actually met face-to-face on that occasion. As fate would have it, Smith did not leave empty-handed. While on set, he met Shuri Zampino, who happened to be visiting a friend at the time. This unexpected meeting turned out to be significant, as it marked the beginning of a new chapter in Will Smith's personal life. In 1992, Smith and Zampino got married, soon welcoming a son they named Trey. Their marriage lasted for 3 years, during which they navigated the joys and challenges of early parenthood and the pressures of Smith's rising fame. However, the relationship eventually came to an end when Zampino filed for divorce on February 14, 1995. Meanwhile, filled Hollywood weddings might be big news, but there was none when it came to the relationships involving Jada Pinkett Smith and the people in this story. When Cher Zampino and Will Smith were together, Zampino felt they were too young to commit for life, especially as their lives were already complicated by Will Smith's rising stardom. As Smith's career took off, they began to drift apart, discovering how difficult it was to hold on to each other when work kept pulling them in different directions. After the end of his relationship with Zampino, but before meeting Jada Pinkett, Smith briefly dated one of his co-stars from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tyra Banks, who had taken a short break from her modeling career, made her acting debut during the 4th season of the show. She played Jackie Ames, Will's childhood friend and ex-girlfriend from Philadelphia, who was a promising basketball player at the University of Los Angeles. Their relationship in the show reflected their real lives. Both young and ambitious, they found it impossible to settle down together as they concentrated on building their own separate careers. In the tumultuous world of young fame, these connections were often short-lived, shaped more by ambition and chance timing than lasting passion. Jada Pinkett Smith would eventually become a key figure in Will's life after this chapter, but during this time, everyone seemed more focused on their emerging paths in the entertainment world and the shifting demands of personal life, leaving lasting commitment on hold, shaped by both opportunity and the pressure of Hollywood expectations. Starting with his first movie job in a supporting part in a crime drama, Where the Dat Takes You in 1992, Will Smith stepped into a world where teens running away had to make a life for themselves. The story looked at how tough life could be for these teens, and showed Smith beginning to flex his acting skills on the big screen. In the following year, Smith worked on 2 more films, Made in America and 6 Degrees of Separation, both coming out close to each other. 6 Degrees of Separation, in particular, marked a turning point for Smith's movie career, serving as his big break in Hollywood. The film received attention for its story and for Smith's performance, putting him on the radar for future major projects. Soon after, he landed what would become one of his most famous roles in Bad Boys, released in 1995. Playing Mike Lowry, Smith took on the character of a fast-talking, sharp-witted detective, crafting an action buddy cop character that audiences enjoyed. This role marked his big break in action movies and was notable for his chemistry with co-star Martin Lawrence. For his part in the first movie of what became a popular buddy cop series, Smith earned $2 million, which was a significant jump from his earlier roles, and signaled he was entering the ranks of bankable stars. As the series continued and gained more success, Smith's value as a leading man grew. By the third Bad Boys film, his salary had climbed to a staggering $17 million for reprising his role as the clever detective. Through these steps in his movie career, Will Smith's journey from supporting roles to major Hollywood stardom is clear, with each new project leading to bigger hits and higher pay, showing the way he established himself in the industry as both a talented actor and a sought-after star. At first, Will Smith's attempt to connect with Jada Pinkett Smith didn't go as planned, but he got another shot and made a stronger impression the second time around. Things worked out between them, and in November 1997, they decided to get married. Earlier, Jada had tried out for the role of Will's girlfriend on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but the part went to Nia Long instead since Jada was considered too short for the role. Despite that, the two grew close and started a romantic relationship. As their connection deepened, Will eventually asked Jada to marry him. On December 31st, 1997, they exchanged vows, and at the time of their wedding, Jada was already 3 months pregnant with her son Jaden. Their family grew once more after nearly 3 years when, on October 30th, 2000, their daughter Willow was born. Sometimes, people in the acting world come across job offers that seem tempting but just are not the right fit. Even when actors know a role could boost their fame, they might walk away if it doesn't feel right. This is something Will Smith experienced firsthand during his career. Though he had already achieved blockbuster status and financial comfort, Smith found himself at a crossroads when asked to play Neo in The Matrix. At the time, he didn't quite grasp the movie's unique premise. The concept just didn't connect for him, and instead, he made the choice to star in Wild Wild West. That film, known for its large budget and high hopes, ended up flopping critically and commercially, while The Matrix went on to be a massive success, transforming the careers of those involved. Smith later spoke about how he didn't regret his decision since another actor, Keanu Reeves, was able to give Neo his own touch and make the role iconic. Sometimes actors have to follow their instincts about what suits them, even if it means letting go of what could have been an even bigger break. These types of decisions can change the course of a career, illustrating how complex and unpredictable the choices are behind the scenes in Hollywood. Starting with his early years in entertainment, the 100 Million Man built his reputation around blockbuster successes. He made history by being the only star to have every one of his films bring in at least 100 million at the box office, showing a remarkable consistency that set him apart from his peers. Some key movies in his career include Ben and Black 2, Bad Boys 2, Jersey Girl, I, Robot, Shark Tale, Hitch, The Pursuit of Happiness, I Am Legend, and Hancock. These films became not just commercial successes, but also cultural milestones that audiences remember fondly. Over time, 7 of his movies crossed the 500 million mark in earnings, a rare feat that marked him as a force in Hollywood. With the release of Aladdin, he reached another major milestone as the film made more than $1 billion worldwide, setting a new standard for his career. Hollywood recognized his box office power, and he became one of the highest-paid stars, earning huge sums for each role he took on. By combining box office appeal with critical acclaim, he managed to keep an impressive track record throughout his long career. His ability to draw crowds to theaters time and time again made him a reliable choice for studios and producers. With this success, he built a net worth of over $350 million, proving his staying power and adaptability in an industry that can be quick to move on from its stars. Meanwhile, taking a different approach to parenting, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith believed there was room for something new beyond the usual traditions. Contrary to the song, they suggested that parents do understand, but might simply use different methods. The couple, who have 3 children, stood firmly against corporal punishment, emphasizing that hitting and beating children only led to negative outcomes. Instead of using punishments, their goal was to give their kids as much power over their own lives as possible, starting at a young age. In their home, open conversations took the place of rules that were too strict or rigid. Both Jada and Will agreed that children should learn early how to make their own decisions and face the consequences, good or bad, within a supportive environment. Will was open about not agreeing with the standard ways of teaching found in most schools, explaining that there is always more than one way to learn something. He felt that forcing young people to sit quietly and listen to a teacher's long explanations was not always the most helpful or respectful way for every student to learn. They valued creativity and freedom in their home, shaping the family as a place where independent thought was important. Teachers and parents in their community might have noticed that the Smith family brought a fresh outlook, likely changing conversations among adults, and even challenging assumptions about parenting, learning, and growing up in today's world. As the 2022 Oscars unfolded before millions of viewers, the ceremony took an unexpected turn that kept people talking for months. When Chris Rock, one of the event's hosts, began making his usual round of jokes about the stars in attendance, he paused, locking eyes with Jada Pinkett Smith. Knowing she had been open about her struggle with alopecia since 2018, many saw what happened next through a sensitive lens. Chris Rock looked at her and said, "Jada, love you, G.I. Jane too. Can't wait to see it," a reference to her bald head that struck a nerve. The joke was met with a clear, sharp response from Jada, who rolled her eyes in visible frustration, highlighting how such remarks can feel deeply personal. What happened after was even more shocking. Will Smith, her husband, abruptly walked onto the stage and slapped Chris Rock across the face, leaving the entire room stunned and viewers around the world in disbelief. Returning to his seat, Will shouted, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," his anger echoing across the auditorium and across social media within seconds. Amid the chaos, the event proceeded, and Will Smith was announced as the winner of the Best Actor award for his role in King Richard. With camera flashes still capturing every tense moment, Will issued an apology in his speech, yet the attempt at reconciliation did little to ease the situation. In the aftermath, the Academy's decision was severe. Will Smith was banned from attending the Oscars for a decade. As the story continued to make headlines, Will posted another apology on Instagram later that year. Chris Rock, however, clearly unmoved, responded tersely, "F your hostage video," demonstrating the lasting rift caused by an incident that started with a single off-the-cuff remark and ended with consequences felt across the entertainment